2014, oil-rich Nigeria had taken over South Africa to become Africa's biggest economy and ranks as the world's 26th. The World Bank considers the nation an emerging market and has identified Nigeria as a regional power in Africa. How will this election impact Nigeria's future? Joining me from Boston is attorney and media commentator Aminu Gamawa. And in the studio we have Ni Akwete. He is a member of Trans-Africa Forum's Scholars Council. Thanks to you for joining us. Ni, let me start with you. The Economist newspaper describes this as the most important election in Nigeria since the end of military rule in 1999. Why is this such an important election?
I think it is because of how the political parties are aligned. The PDP, the ruling party, President Jonathan's party, had won the 3 previous elections, and the opposition had been weak. But as everyone has noted, for this election, parties that were more or less regional came together, and so they have a national reach, especially in the southwest. So I think the elections are highly contested. But there is also the issue of 2 other issues: the Boko Haram insurgency and terrorist problem. And then, of course, since June, oil, which is Nigeria's biggest foreign exchange earner, the price has plummeted by some accounts by 52%. So it's created a lot of challenges for the president, and given that President Jonathan is the one who is the incumbent, a lot of it has been blamed on him, fairly or not. So everyone agrees that this is the first time that there is a good chance that he can be unseated. These are some of the things that make it very, very important.
Right, certainly the Boko Haram insurgency looms very large over this election, and we'll get to that in a moment. Let me go to Aminu in Boston. Aminu, when we looked at the pre-election polls, it gave each side roughly around the same amount of votes, around 42%. So this is a very closely contested election, as Ni just pointed out as well. So what is the likelihood that we could see a change of government here?
Well, thank you for having me. Definitely, there is high likelihood that this time around the opposition party, which is the most powerful since the country returned to democratic rule in 1999, this is the 5th election, and I believe that the All Progressive People's Congress has a chance of winning the election. As rightly pointed out by Ni Akwete, Nigerians are tired of the current government because of the massive corruption in the government, because of growing inequality among the population, the insurgency and the insecurity in the northeast, and of course unemployment among the youth. So definitely there are so many challenges that the PDP government in its 16 years of rule has failed to address, and the opposition is promising to address this issue, and the candidate of the All Progressive Congress is somebody that is known to be very tough, and it is hoped that he will address the insecurity in the northeast and he will fight corruption. And as we all know that the whole world is watching, and the whole world wants to know if Nigeria is going to get this right. Nigeria is a very important country in Africa, is the biggest democracy, is the biggest economy. So what happened in Nigeria would affect other countries, and I think that is why even the turnout of this election is very high, and in comparison with the previous election, it is relatively peaceful, and Nigerians that I have spoken to and the polls that have been released before, and even the projections when the results start coming, shows that there is high likelihood that the opposition party may emerge victorious.
Ni, what do we know about the 2 leaders? Goodluck Jonathan, the incumbent, and the man challenging him is Muhammadu Buhari. He is a former major general in the Nigerian military. And I'm wondering, are Nigerians willing to accept a former military leader who could become president?
I think that's a great question, which means that I have asked myself the same question, and I don't mind telling you, 4 years ago, the same 2 people ran. And in that election, 2011, I had an easy time saying, President Jonathan would win, and he did win. This time I've had difficulty because I realized that the race is much closer, and I'm surprised also by General Buhari's popularity from the polls. And as Aminu said, a lot of Nigerians are blaming President Jonathan for a lot of things. Now, as an observer, I mean, my major role is to be in Washington to look at how the U.S. deals with African countries, and Nigeria being the most important. So I watch it from that point of view. But sometimes I have to look at what is going on inside the country, and I have been actually surprised, and sometimes I think that, in fact, in my humble opinion, President Jonathan gets blamed for things that I don't think should be blamed on him. But ultimately, Nigerian voters have to decide, and it does appear that they are willing to accept General Buhari. They are not holding it against him that in 1983, he made a coup and overthrew an elected government. For me, that's a cardinal sin, but apparently Nigerian voters are saying, listen, we have problems that we think he can deal with, so let's try him. And it is a trial. One has to see if he wins, how is he going to manage, and whether the problems can be reduced or not.
Right. I mean, we are still a long way from knowing what the final result would be, but there were some worrying comments that came out of the Buhari camp over the weekend, reported by the New York Times. Supporters of Muhammadu Buhari said that they would not accept a Goodluck Jonathan victory.
Well, it appears that before the election, both parties have signed an agreement promising to respect the outcome of the election and the wish of the people, so long as the election is conducted in a free and fair manner. But in the last 2 days, we have seen the use of the law enforcement, the security to harass the opposition, but especially in the states in the south and the southeast, we have seen cases where even election observers have been chased away by law enforcement who are working for the ruling party. Definitely the election, though generally free and fair in most parts of the country, in the stronghold of the PDP, they try to rig the election, and I think there are evidence that are already available in public showing the rigging and showing harassment of both voters and election observers. So what I think All Progressive, the APC is saying is so long as these elections are not free and fair, they may not accept the outcome. But I believe that generally the INEC, the Independent National Electoral Commission, has done a good job. Professor Jega, the head of the electoral body, is somebody that is well regarded, and I think he's doing his best to ensure that the outcomes of the election are free, fair, and represent the will of the people. I think it is important that we all respect that. The US and the UK have released a statement warning against any attempt to sabotage or to change the results. So the election may be free and fair at the polling units, but during the collation, usually the government in power is known to use its influence and access to security to change the result. I don't think Nigerians will accept this time around. I think Nigerians are ready for free, fair, and credible elections, and we hope that the government and all the people in charge, including the opposition, will respect the will of the people.
And another thing we'd have to consider and factor in when we look at these differences between the two sides is that Buhari is from the north.
Yes.
The north is predominantly Muslim in Nigeria.
Yes.
The south is predominantly Christian.
Yes.
It is the more prosperous of the two halves of Nigeria.
Yes.
To what extent will that difference, religious, ethnic difference, play in this election?
I think it plays a bigger role than I would like, and also than I think most observers from the West are willing to acknowledge. Now, in the South, it is true that Christianity dominates, but you know, it's a matter of identity. Which identity is more important? In fact, I think that if you look in the South, the Southwest is very different from the Southeast, you know, because in the South, ethnic identity of the two major ethnic groups in the Southeast and in the Southwest, I think even overrides their religious loyalties. And in any case, in the Southwest, you've got both Muslims and Christians there. So I do think this is very much an identity politics-driven race. I think, in fact, when I look at it, it seems to me the reason that the APC is doing so well this time, apart from the issues that President Jonathan has been accused of not handling well, I also think a major factor is the alliance between the North in the Southwest. You know, the parties that had their bases there came together. So it is driven by those loyalties as well as by what has been accused. So I think people tend to underestimate how the regional loyalties are making a play. In fact, I think that is driving things much more than some of the other issues, but that's my own reading of the results.